Previously, I spoke about finding a soulmate. I changed and broadened the definition of what a soulmate is to expand beyond just the idea that there's one person or a couple of different people out there that's exactly right for each person for a romantic relationship. So we really broadened the idea that it extends to thousands and thousands of souls based on our relationships with others before we're born. The first tip that I gave was about developing your self-confidence as the surest way to make yourself ready to attract in someone who's going to be a good partner for you. And hopefully you've been embarking on that journey of really learning to let go of things that made you not feel that you were worthy or kind of destroy your belief in your own limitlessness. So today, let's take a look at some other tips that can help you to become the vibrational match for someone that you can enjoy a compatible relationship with. Why do people have such a high priority for being in a relationship where they're sharing their lives with a companion? There's a lot of reasons for it, but what we tend to do is we use the reflection of another person who chooses us as an indication of our own worth. So oftentimes we tend to put it out there that our checklist of the things that we would like in another partner, they're a measure of what we think society or people that are close to us would value. And if that person would select us, we would see ourselves as being worthy or accepted or approved of, or better than we may actually believe we are. I would like you to start to think about what you really would like in a mate and not have it be based on the checklist that others have indicated to you that make you worthy if you're dating that kind of a person. It's an exercise that will take some effort, and it's a worthy exercise to put in writing and start out in the beginning by writing as much as you can think of that pops up into your head, but kind of leave a piece of paper or a notebook there, and over time, over the next few days or weeks even, add things to that list. The key is that when you are writing a list about some of the qualities you would like in another mate, you want to think about what you would like, not what anyone else would like, but what you would like. And you want to try to do this without judgment, okay? There are certain things that are non-starters for us personally, and we might not even know the reason why. But if there's something in particular that you couldn't see yourself enjoying having in someone that you're dating, then it's okay to say on your list that you would want something different than that. No one's reading your list but you and the universe and your guides. So in order for it to be effective, it has to be honest. It has to be clear about what you really are interested in, what does make you happy. I'm going to give you maybe one of the most meaningful guidelines toward creating this list that you have ever heard in your entire life. You're going to look at qualities that you're drawn to or that you would like in a mate. You're going to look at that through 3 categories, okay? The first is, how do you want to feel body to body in a connection with another person? How do you want to feel physically with your companion? It doesn't matter what the answer is, it just has to be real about what it is that you like. Are you the kind of person that likes to stroll down the beach and hold hands? Are you the kind of person that you want to stroll down the beach with a good stride, and if you hold my hand, I'm going to find it a little irritating? Do you like to have someone come over and caress your shoulder when they walk in a room? Do you like someone playing with your hair? Do you want someone to engage in public displays of affection? You're the only one that knows how you feel and how you want to feel in a body-body connection with another human being. This involves more than just the gestures that I'm talking about. It also involves everything to do with sexuality. What are you interested in? How do you want to feel sexually? Is it a priority? Is it a low priority? What are some of the areas you would like to explore or examine with a partner? And what are the ones that you're hesitant to explore? So it does take a lot of thought about thinking of not only the mechanics of a body-to-body intimate relationship, but also just the day-to-day connection of how you want to feel in conjunction with another human being physically. The second category would be the mind to the mind, the thinking part of you, the curious part of you. How do you want to feel in your mind to mind connection? Again, this is about preferences. It's not about judgment. It's not saying one is good and one is bad. Let go of any self-criticism. Let go of thinking you're too picky even. Because if there's something out there that you know you would find irritating, then why not put on the list that you would like the opposite of that? It's about identifying your preferences. So mind to mind. Do you prefer someone that has one passionate interest that they really absorb themselves in and they can talk about that interest? Do you like someone that is endlessly curious about a lot of topics? Do you like someone that has a very set pattern of beliefs about certain topics such as politics or religion, and outside of that range they're not necessarily seeking new input? Are you looking for someone that is pretty set on their level of interest and they're content with the life that they have created? Or are you looking for someone that's always seeking the new? So the mind-to-mind connection would be similar to thinking about putting someone in a room with one book of every topic in the room. Leave them alone for a couple of hours, tell them you're watching them, or don't tell them you're watching them, but then see what they do for a couple hours. Where do they go in that room? Do they go to one section and sit there and read? Do they sit in the middle and do nothing and ask to be let out? Do they go from book to book to book and have a pile of them and show a lot of curiosity and interest in a lot of them? So the mind-to-mind connection is, do you find that you have preferences in the way a person moves about in the world of topics, passions, interests, hobbies, politics, spirituality? How do you want to connect with another person in that mind-to-mind area? And the third area you want to look at when you're making a list of the qualities you would enjoy is to look at, I like to think of it as the soul-to-soul connection. The soul-to-soul connection is, how does a person move about in the world? How broadly do they integrate the idea that we are all connected? Do they have categories of different people that they select as being worthy, or within their friend group, or within their day-to-day experiences? Or do they reach more broadly across any particular smaller group? How do they treat others? How do they treat people that they don't necessarily think they will benefit from being kind to? How do you feel about kindness? How do you feel about compassion? How do you feel about charity? These are the ways a person expresses their soulfulness, is how they feel and how they choose and select all of these different focuses. Another part of finding out about whether soul-to-soul connection exists is to look at the difference between a person's words and their actions. Do you prefer a person that can have a great conversation with you about anything, philosophically, historically, financially, literally? Or do you prefer someone that takes actions that align with what their interests are? Or is your preference perhaps a mix of both? So in your soul to soul list, put down what your preference is about what ignites you more. Is it words? Is it actions? Or is it a balance and a combination of both? I want to revert back to looking at the body to body list for a moment. And I didn't start out by saying this because this is one area that people tend to be reluctant to write something on their physical list as if their teacher's going to come in and see what they wrote. But the body to body, it's also important that you write down what some of your attractions are. Let's try not to make it so rigid that you don't open up to the possibility of perhaps different body types or heights or skin colors or anything like that. Don't make it so rigid that you limit yourself unless there's a rigidity that completely 100% works for you. You, once again, are the only person that will know that for sure. Again, it's not about right or wrong. It's about your personal preferences. So you're making a list of what your preferences are. Not only does it sharpen your vibration to be able to magnetize in a soulmate with whom you can have a long-term committed relationship with, but it's also a conversation with your guides. It's also a conversation with the universe, that they can help to hone in on bringing you opportunities that are a measure of some of those qualities on that list. So this list is not for me. I don't care what you write on that list. This list is for you. And this list is for the future people that it is that you may date. Allow yourself to become more magnetically prepared and aligned with what it is that you want by taking the time to create a list of your preferences, mind to mind, body to body, and soul to soul. This list, mind to mind, body to body, soul to soul, it's a wonderful guide, but you also want to remember that it can change. Most of the exercises that I do with clients, it's about understanding that anything we're putting into writing, it's a living and breathing document, and it changes and it evolves with you. It changes with your own evolution. So it's a good idea to tweak it once in a while, go back and look at it. A really fun experiment would be to have your list there, put it aside for a moment, and then go back to it after a couple of dates and see how that particular person that you're dating, how much of a match it is to that list. And interestingly, when you compare them, you're going to find that there are certain things on that list you can cross off that maybe they're really not that important to you. You're also going to find that there might be some things that you want to add, okay? Just to throw something out there. How does someone treat the wait staff? That's my own personal little peek into, is this someone that I can connect with spiritually? Do they treat the wait staff the way that they would treat me, with kindness and consideration and with that soulful approach? So even as you are going through the dating experience, keep fine-tuning this and hone in more on the qualities that are important to you, but also release the ones that you realize aren't significant at all. I will give you an opportunity to find out a tool that I use with clients that's extremely effective in showing compatibility between two people. So please subscribe. You will find out the download of that next video.